I'm Lana Lyman with Apostolic Moral Purity, and I am part of the Betrayed Wives Hope for Healing group. And today I want to talk to you for just a few minutes about an important part of the healing process when it comes to betrayal and betrayal trauma, and that is the topic of forgiveness. Now, in Proverbs 18:14, we read that the spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear? And another translation of that reads, the human spirit can endure a sick body, but who can bear a crushed spirit? Now, when our spirit is strong and healthy, we can survive problems and difficulties. But if our spirit is wounded, then we do not have the inner strength to overcome and could very well be destroyed by problems that others easily overcome. Now, in Proverbs 15:13, it tells us that the sorrow of heart causes a wounded spirit. So rejection and betrayal are common factors for sorrow of the heart. And a person who feels rejected by someone they love or admire, or who is betrayed by another that they've placed their trust in, will be prone to suffer a wounded spirit. And the only way that a person who has a wounded spirit can be healed is for them to be willing to forgive their offender and release all bitterness. So forgiveness. Forgiveness is the key to healing. And we're going to talk about forgiveness for just a moment. Sometimes people have the wrong idea of what forgiveness looks like. So to start, we're going to talk about what forgiveness is not. So forgiveness is not managing my emotions. It is not a denial of wrongdoing. It is not an excuse, which means it doesn't remove the responsibility of the wrongdoing. Forgiveness is not forgetting. And I know that's a tough one because we've all heard the phrase forgive and forget, but that's not reality. So forgiveness is not forgetting. It's not trust. It's not the same as reconciliation. Forgiveness is not a one-time event. And the last one is that forgiveness is not quickly processed. So keep those things in mind. Those are all the things forgiveness is not. You know, everyone says that forgiveness is a lovely idea until they have something to forgive. So forgiveness is easier said than done. And when you're on this side of betrayal and the trauma involved, you understand all too true how that is. Now, forgiveness is, however, a cease to demand a penalty for. It literally means to send away, to release, to set free. So forgiveness is a choice. It's a behavior. It's not a feeling. And as women, especially, sometimes we tend to look for the feelings, but I can forgive. And my feelings, it may take a while for them to catch up. So it's a choice and a behavior, not a feeling. Forgiveness is letting go of that resentment for being wronged. I'm not holding that against my offender anymore. Its intent is to cut something loose. So that's what forgiveness is. But what does that look like? So the steps to forgiveness are, first of all, you have to recognize that there's been an injury. Okay? Admit that there's a debt and something that's due for that injury. And then the last one is me releasing you from what is due me for that injury. So it ultimately involves me handing over to God the responsibility for justice. I know that it's not mine to handle. I'm going to give it to God and just let Him take care of it. Forgiveness means we have to let go of the past. And for a lot of people, this one is really, really hard, especially when in your mind you have this ideal of what your marriage was supposed to be. And then betrayal enters the picture. So for a lot of us, we really get hung up on that not being able to let go of the past. That means that I have to give up all hope of ever having a better past, which is really, really difficult. I remember struggling with those thoughts and feelings of, I'll never be able to stand up on our 25th wedding anniversary or our 50th wedding anniversary. And we can't say now that we've been faithful to each other all these years. You know, little things like that, that if we're not careful, we can get caught in those details. But if it means that I am giving up hope of a better past, by doing so, it means that I can move on to a better future. So it's important to note also that experiencing emotions is not a sign of unforgiveness. Having an emotional response does not mean that you haven't forgiven. Okay? Like I said before, we can forgive, but sometimes it takes a while for our feelings and our emotions to catch up. All right. So an emotional response is not a sign of unforgiveness. Also remember that forgiveness needs to be detailed. Now, when it comes to betrayal and disclosure, a lot of times disclosure comes out in pieces. Everything isn't revealed all at once, unfortunately. It would be nice if it was, but that's usually not the way it works. And so forgiveness needs to be detailed. And that means that with every new detail, there needs to be new forgiveness. So I'm making a choice to forgive, and I have to make that choice over and over. Remember, forgiveness is not a one-time process. I have to make the choice every day to forgive. And with every new detail that comes out, I have to forgive again. There has to be new forgiveness that's offered. So you have to be very specific about what you're forgiving. And with every detail, offer that new forgiveness. Now, to close here, let's talk about why we should forgive. Well, first of all, the lack of forgiveness will lead to bitterness, and nothing will destroy you faster as a person, as an individual, than bitterness. Bitterness will completely ruin you. So by holding on to that unforgiveness, we are opening ourselves up to bitterness. So lack of forgiveness leads to bitterness. That's the one reason that we should forgive. The second reason, and probably the most important, is because Jesus said that if we would not forgive others, He would not forgive us. So when we go to God in prayer and we go to God in repentance, if I'm holding on to unforgiveness, God is not going to forgive me of my sin if I can't forgive others that trespass against me. So keep that in mind when it comes to forgiveness. Now, I know the journey of healing is a long journey. This road can be very hard. There's a lot of work involved for both parties. However, healing is possible, and we want you to know that. There is hope for your healing. And always remember that the last thing Satan wants is for your marriage to heal. He is doing everything he can in every way to destroy your marriage. So make healing a priority in your life and in your relationship. And forgiveness, remember that that is a very key part to the healing process. Now, here at Apostolic Moral Purity, we have our ladies group, the Hope for Healing Betrayed Wives group. We meet every week to offer support to anyone who is on this journey of healing from betrayal. So if this is something that you're interested in, if you need some extra support, if you want to join our ladies group, please reach out to us. Send a message, send an email, and ask how you can become part, because we all need that extra support during these times. And we're here for you, we're praying for you, and we're praying for your healing and for God's blessings on you. Thank you.